You know that moment. It's Tuesday night. Nothing's wrong. You're just lying in bed, half watching something you've already seen. And then, for no real reason, you open your bank app. Not because something happened, just habit, like checking your weight after a big meal. And you look at the number. It's not zero, you're not in crisis, but it's not growing either. It looks exactly the same as last month and the month before that. So you close the app, put the phone face down on your chest, stare at the ceiling. And the thought creeps in. I go to work, I pay my bills. I'm not doing anything crazy with money, so why does it feel like I'm running in place? Here's the thing, the answer is almost definitely not what you think it is. Most people think they're not building wealth because they don't earn enough, or they're not disciplined enough, or they're just not wired for this stuff. And I get it. That's the story we've been sold our whole lives. Just spend less, just try harder, just be better. But here's what that story leaves out. Buffett once said something that stopped me cold. He said the biggest financial mistake people make isn't a bad investment. It's waiting for certainty, waiting for the right moment. A moment, he said, that never actually comes. And he's right, because I've watched people with $30,000 salaries quietly build wealth, and people with $120,000 salaries quietly fall behind. The difference isn't income. It isn't discipline. It isn't how smart they are. It's the system they're running, or the system they're not running. Here's the analogy that made this click for me. Imagine you're trying to fill a bathtub. Faucet's on, water's flowing, but the drain is wide open. You could crank the faucet higher, earn more money, or scrub the sides harder, be more disciplined. But none of it matters until you plug the drain. That drain is the invisible financial habits running on autopilot, the subscriptions you forgot about, the lifestyle that crept up when your income did, money leaving without you ever deciding where it goes. Today, we're plugging the drain. I want to show you one number that changed the way I think about all of this. If you start putting $300 a month into a basic index fund at 25, that's one streaming service, 2 dinners out, and a gym membership. By the time you're 65, you're looking at roughly $900,000. Now, same person, same $300 a month, but they start at 35 instead of 25. They end up with around $380,000. Same discipline, same consistency. 10 years later, the gap? Over $500,000. $520,000. Gone. Not because they made bad choices, not because they spent it on something stupid, just because they waited, because they told themselves they'd start when things settled down, when they got the raise, when the timing felt right. The timing never felt right. The most expensive thing you can do right now is nothing. Let that sit for a second. Then, let's fix it. And here's the thing. This isn't theory. I looked it up. The Federal Reserve tracks this every 3 years, and their data shows the median American between 35 and 44 has a net worth of around $91,000. These are working adults, paying bills, showing up, doing everything right on the surface. The system underneath is what's broken. And that's actually good news, because systems can be fixed. All right, 5 steps. None of them require a finance degree. All of them start today. Step 1. Find your real number, not your gut estimate, your actual number. Here's why this matters psychologically. Your brain is wired to fill uncertainty with optimism. You think you spent $400 on food last month. It was probably $640. You think subscriptions are around $80. Add them up, usually over $160. You cannot fix a leak you haven't found, and most people are walking around with leaks they've never looked at. So today, open your bank app right now, scroll through last month, and write down what you actually spent. No judgment, just data. The number you're afraid to see is your starting point. Step 2. Pay yourself first before your bills pay you. Most people pay rent, utilities, subscriptions, and save whatever's left. Here's the problem. There's never anything left. Spending expands to fill available money. Every single time. That's not a character flaw. That's just how humans work. The fix is simple. Flip the order. The moment your paycheck lands, before you touch anything else, move a set amount into a separate savings account. Even $50. The amount is almost irrelevant at first. What you're doing is training your brain to treat saving like a bill. Non-negotiable. Already gone. not available to spend. So today, set up a $50 to $200 automatic transfer for your next pay date. 1 minute. Done. You'll never miss money you never saw. Step 3. Kill one leak this week. Just one. Here's why small wins matter more than people think. Canceling a $13 subscription won't make you wealthy, but every intentional financial decision you make reinforces an identity. I am someone who controls my money. That identity is what actually compounds. Not just the dollars, but the belief that you are the kind of person who does this. So today, open your subscriptions list in your bank app, or Apple Pay, or Google Pay. Find one thing you haven't used in 30 days and cancel it before this video ends. Step 4. Build a system that doesn't need you. Here's the trap nobody talks about. You get a raise, you move to a nicer place, maybe a car payment appears, and somehow earning more than you ever have, you're still finishing the month at zero. That's lifestyle inflation, and it's silent. You don't notice it happening. You just slowly upgrade your spending to match your income dollar for dollar. The people who escape this don't have more willpower. They've built a system that makes the right thing happen automatically, so it doesn't require willpower at all. Bills automated, savings automated, investments automated. Money moves in the right direction before you can redirect it. Without this system, every month is a battle. With it, building wealth just happens, in the background, while you live your life. So today, write down one expense that appeared after a raise or promotion, and ask yourself honestly, does it genuinely make your life better, or did you just get used to it? Step 5. Give every dollar a job before it arrives, and decide before you spend. People who build wealth don't decide what to do with money after it arrives. They decide before. The psychology here is powerful. When money has no assignment, it finds its own way out. A spontaneous dinner, an impulse order, a round of drinks you didn't plan for. None of those are bad things, but multiplied across 12 months, they're thousands of dollars. When money already has a job waiting for it, that doesn't happen. You stop the mental tug of war at checkout. You stop living in reaction to your money and start directing it. And here's what people don't expect. It's actually freeing. Because once the important stuff is handled, you can spend the rest completely guilt-free. You're not being restrictive. You're being intentional. So before your next paycheck hits, write down exactly where it's going. Savings, investing, bills, life. Even rough numbers on a napkin. The act of deciding in advance is the whole game. I want to tell you about a friend of mine. I'll call her Maya. Maya was 29, made around $54,000 a year, and by every measure, she was doing fine. Paying her bills, showing up to work, not doing anything obviously wrong. But she had almost nothing saved. And every time she thought about fixing it, she'd feel this wave of overwhelm, close the tab, and tell herself she'd deal with it next month. Next month became 2 years. The turning point wasn't a crisis. It was actually kind of quiet. She went to a housewarming for a friend who made less than her, and standing there, holding a glass of wine, she did the math in her head and realized she couldn't afford a down payment. Not in 5 years, not even close. And it hit her differently than she expected. Not grief about the money, something else. She realized she hadn't made a single intentional financial decision in 2 years. She'd just been reacting, every month, automatic, asleep at the wheel. She came home and did step 1. Just looked at her actual numbers. Found $340 a month going to things she didn't care about. Not bad things, just invisible things. She automated $200 into savings, canceled 2 subscriptions, wrote out where her next paycheck was going before it landed. 18 months later, she had $9,200 saved, the first real cushion of her adult life. But when I asked her what actually changed, she didn't talk about the money. She said, for the first time, I feel like I'm running my life, not just surviving it. That's the whole thing right there. All right, let's land this. Step 1, find your real number. No more guessing. Step 2, pay yourself first before your bills do. Step 3, kill one leak this week. Just one. Step 4, build a system that runs without you and automates the right behavior. Step 5, give every dollar a job before it arrives and decide before you spend. None of this requires a high income. None of it requires perfection. It just requires a system. And now you have one.